Before we wander on into the episode, I just want to make sure that everyone goes out there and hits up the YouTube, check out the Spotify, check out Apple, wherever you're listening or watching to this podcast, is to go down, like it, subscribe, hit the bell if it's YouTube. Make sure you're getting those reminders. We do put these out every week. So make sure you do all that. It helps us out. And in the long run, we can make better things. So again, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility? Link. What's up, everybody? It is another wonderful week. It's time for Wandering Ways. It is your guy, as per usual. Actually, not all the time. I'm sometimes not here, but it is the Reverend Mark. And with me most of the time, he comes from, places in the US, somewhere USA. You can look it up. It's somewhere in the USA. It is Ranger Zach. Ranger Zach, how we doing, my guy?
Good, fantastic, wonderful, happy, exciting. We're talking Iceland and just want to show you because now I'm back in Montana for this, and I want to show you real quick because while we're on the trip, I like to buy a map. I bought a map of Iceland. It's a really weird size. It's like 26 and a half inches by like 19 and a quarter inch. It's so weird. It's so random as hell. But what I do is I see here it's a 1 in 500,000 image of Iceland, so it's probably really shrunken down. But what I like to do is buy maps on our journeys or find old maps, like here in the West in the US. You may see back here, I have the one of our 2019 trip, and I have a Polaroid camera. And I took the Polaroids and I posted them on the map, and then I draw on the map where we camped and our route just to show people, hey, it's where we've been.
Oh,
Polaroid.
you actually drew on the old map.
Yeah, I thought about it and I was like, but I did on these ones too, So and then I circle the places we camped.
Ah.
So like Thingvellir here, I got a circle around it, and then that Borganese because we camped in that town, So just the different places. And then the Polaroid pictures, I wrote on the Polaroid pictures the places they were like Latcherberg Cliffs, Husavik, just kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea to, kind of remember the trip. I'm kind of contemplating doing a whole like photo kind of book of the trip. Although I'm kind of
Oh,
waiting for a bunch of the photos from your camera because there'll be more to kind of pick from. And with it being like a book, that's just going to sit in my bookshelf type deal. I want
yeah.
like as many different kinds of pictures that I
Yeah.
can.
No, that's perfect. I'm actually now that I'm back finally that tonight I was like I'm going to figure out this camera because I want to post some more photos and share them with the wanderers for sure. So you guys can definitely now that we're back, we're kind of live back in the US. You're able to kind of see some of Iceland. I know just talking about it, and we talk about it on today's episode as well as last week's episode. But just kind of like how going about this trip, how we did it, our mindset, how easy it was for us, how like all the conversations from Thea to my parents to my brother to like my brother's baseball team parents, because they're like, hey, you just went to Iceland, what's that all about, asking the questions. And it's like you start telling them, it's just almost like just go, because it's like it was that easy and that fun, and I enjoyed it that much, especially if you're able to do like the van life thing. Like I was telling Joni, I said, like, you and Ray, man, this is your shit right here.
Yeah. I've already had a couple people be like, I think you inspired my trip for next year. So it's very doable. Highly encourage it. But anyways, yeah, we're not gonna jibber jabber too much. We're gonna let the episode speak for itself, but that it was just so long that we had to split it up into two parts. And so coming up, it's part two of this wonderful thing that we call Iceland Review. So,
Uh,
with that being said, Yeah, they loaded the fridge, and I mean, I think they also had like a bed frame in
Oh
there.
yeah, they had the U-Haul boxes or the whole nine.
Yeah, and then they had the food that was there for they were taking to the hotel. I got a kick out of it that it was on a ferry, like a ferry that's taking people, and also a ferry that advertises itself as a tour, not as a ferry. They call it a tour. So it's
Oh.
like, even though it's a ferry, it just transports you from one place to the other. You can stop on that flatty island. You can't take a car, but someone will park your car at the next point, if you really need, if you want to make the visit. But it was just, it was a lot of fun. It was different, interesting, and a good little, I think a good little experience for it all.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed doing the ferry. It was really cool to do experience. It was weird that like at first it was like you get out of the car, like passengers out of the cars to get, because typically you don't on ferries, you just load. And it makes sense because how jam-packed they packed you in.
Yeah,
Uh
I mean, they were packed in there.
oh, it's wild. They were moving buses. I think why they moved that one bus now thinking about it was probably to get the driver in his driver's seat on the big bus.
Yeah, he was probably there first and ready to go because it's kind of like, if you're there and you're in, like, let's go type deal.
Yeah.
Because we got stuck. I got stuck there for longer than I should have because, like, one driver to a car wasn't able to get to their car until very late. Because it's like, I mean, they tell you to go down to your car and you're like sitting there going, like, lifting your bag above your head, like squeezing through. There were a couple points I was like, I don't know if I'm making this.
That's wild. That's so wild. But they did it. They packed it full. They put a bus on there, did the whole nine, got
Put
across.
two buses on
Well,
there.
yeah, I mean, I just mean like the fact that they'll put anything on there.
They will. They really will. I
And
think you have to pay extra, but they'll put it on there.
then they did. And they carted us across. We were able to get out to the Puffins because that was the first goal. We just kind of jetted out to the Puffins, spent a lot of time with them, taking photos of them on the cliffs. And I know you really enjoyed those cliffs.
The cliffs were dope. The puffins were dope. That spot was just dope, kind of in general. It's one, it's tough to get to, so you feel like you're really way, 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 way out there, which is another kind of like feature to it. And then when you get there, I mean, they were massive cliffs
Oh
right
yeah.
there on the ocean.
It makes sense when you see like why they're endangered because it's like, oh, they need like this kind of climate to survive, and there's probably not that many climates like this, and just the craziness of that, and just the overfishing in the area, what we do to them, and how little they were. I was impressed with how little the puffins were.
I know, right? They were a lot smaller than I thought they were going to be. And I wasn't expecting anything big, to be honest,
Right.
either. Um, but uh also, like, I wasn't expecting to get as close to the puffins as we did,
Right.
which was a awesome, super awesome that we were able to. Because I mean, I got some great video. We got great pictures of it too. So I mean, count
Oh
our
yeah.
hearts and say we're blessed because that was really an awesome opportunity.
They were right there. They were just living their little lives. They were coming, and I think because we spent so much time there, it was starting to get more like evening time to them. So they started to pop up the more and more as we were there. Um, they are just amazing. I mean, they're I could have spent a whole day there probably.
I could have too. I could have spent a lot of time right there. I would have hiked more of the cliffs.
Right, just kept going on
Um,
that trail for a
yeah,
while,
just kind of
seeing.
keep going, see what's over. Um, could easily spend 30 minutes just watching some puffins, taking a bunch of pictures of like one little group. Um, so the puffins were definitely pretty sweet overall.
And then it was crazy the drive out there because it just the different terrains you covered to get out there. You had like the dunes, you had the like Fiordi Lake, you had um the cliffs, the like lava fields, you had and then that like farm fields, and then that US plane in the farm field.
Yeah.
Um then
And then
the
small towns way out there,
Yeah,
like a
right? Like
small little village. You're like, what people live this far out here?
it's wild. But it makes sense. Someone's got to do it, I guess. I mean, there's harbors too, right? Like those little harbors and boats, and I'm sure in the winter some of it freezes over and they snowmobile. But you're just like just the things that like that's crazy, huh?
Yeah. The amount of small uh plane runways, like little plane air, like, it's not an airport, but because there's no building, it's just runways.
It's a
Um,
landing strip, yeah, in a farm
yeah,
field.
yeah, landing strip. I mean, that was kind of cool too.
No, it was really neat. It had that like Alaska vibe for sure.
Yeah, I did. Kind of the bush people, kind of where you have to, really work hard to get to. It did have that vibe. Um, Now that I really kind of think about it.
The nice thing is it's kind of close though, because it's an island. It's small, so you're able to like that was like we were able to get there in a couple days.
Yeah, right. It was really that was a plus. I mean, that was our longest travel because we covered a lot of ground that day. But that was to
Well
set
worth
us
it.
up for the other days.
Well worth it. But I think that being able to get that double sleep, get on an Icelandic schedule, get out there, really spend the day getting out there. I mean, the shitty thing was that in the harbor town is we spent a lot of time just wasted in the harbor town, and I don't mean wasted because we had some nice walks. We checked out the bakery. We went and bought our sweaters. We saw some nice stores and shops, and just went into like a grocery store. We went into the hardware store just to just check it out. Just kind of cool to see all what was going on. Um, but yeah, like you said, then we just drove back that arm to get us positioned for the next few days, which were longer days, but in reality they weren't that long.
No,
Just full days, long full days.
I mean every day was a long full day if you really stop and think about it.
Right.
Um, that one was just we got back, we got into the parking spot, I think later than the other days. And then woke up right away and went kept going. Kept going. We started making our way towards Husavik.
Right up the north there, and we hit that big canyon, which was crazy because we were just driving this like town or whatever you would call it, like, and we rolled up on that canyon just in the middle
Yeah.
of this valley. There was that really cool modern house out there on the way to it, but it's like you wouldn't expect this, and there was just this like canyon in the middle of this field and these giant waterfalls, and you're like, what the heck? You look out, you think it would just be flat land.
Yeah, I know you really would. A lot of that though, it was just like you're kind of going and all of a sudden it was like boom, there's this big thing, canyon, waterfall, you name it.
Is
It felt
wild.
like that for most of the trip.
It must be something with well, I mean, it makes sense, right? You have volcanic rock and then you have glaciers, which form that. So, you're cutting a lot of cutting and a lot of, just cool shapes as a whole. But yeah, we worked our way. We got to see a lot of those. Like, to me, this part of the trip felt a lot like Montana. Just kind of the valleys that we were driving, the rivers that we saw, but it mean just the huge rivers, the huge these huge valleys. You're able to see the mountains, these grass villages and the grass towns, which were really cool.
Yeah, that and then like going around each of like the forts,
Yeah,
where it's just massive shelves just on each side, and you're kind of like going around, it makes travel longer. But we drove through a couple towns where it's like literally at the bottom, like that's it. That's the only, it's just that town's there, and there's a tunnel on each side of it. There's no other road in. There's a
Right.
landing strip, but just which those towns were really cool. A lot of them seemed really cool. We didn't spend any time in them, but it seems like it would be.
No, and they seem like the people because you could tell the weather was nice. It was like 70s that day because we drove up that those north areas like you're saying, and we were able to that Hofsos Hofsos. They we were able to jump on one of the trampolines finally. We found a park with a trampoline. We were able to jump on it.
Yeah,
You drive in these like beautiful grassy fields, and then you get up into the mountains, like you're saying. And we're cutting through these tunnels, and then at the bottom of these tunnels and mountains is these cute little towns, and the people are enjoying the day because like it's nice out. Um, and like I saw ski resorts, like there's able to go skiing in like these areas. Like I saw signs for them. So in the winter it makes sense, and like just the way but you could really tell how those towns they really survived on the harbors, like the sea. That was the way of life. They just kind of lived at the bottom of these of those inlets, those bays up there. And then we were able to get from there. We were kind of after that. We went to check out that thrift store, which is kind of cool. Um, Felt like you're at just it smelled like a thrift store. and
yeah,
then,
yeah. I mean, it had the same thrift store vibe that all thrift stores have.
right. And then we went to that Ayuki AR, the town of the north. The town starts with an A. It's a large town in the north, and that was amazing. We checked out that botanical garden. We got some food at a restaurant. We walked around. That was a really cool town.
Yeah, that was the most like European any of the towns felt like. And again, Reykjavik probably does. We were just there on a Sunday, so things are a little bit slower on a Sunday.
Well, we
But
just
this
got
one,
in the morning, and we didn't know what we were doing.
yeah, this one, people are up and down the streets. I mean, popping in and out of places, enjoying whatever the day had coming for them. So, that was a really cool town.
You could
And
see the
then,
artsiness there. The stoplight had the heart in it.
oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. The hearts and those. There was a lot of art in that because they
Yeah,
had the picture frame or like the heart that you can take a picture of you in. The botanical garden was actually a really good botanical garden. Um,
that forest lagoon looked cool there.
yeah, it did. But I don't know. I'd still take what we had later that day at the geothermal baths. Over a lot of other hot spring trips.
No, you're absolutely right. That was the geothermal. That was cool. But before the geothermal, we checked out those waterfalls, and you saw your pal.
Oh, yeah, the I forgot. I was like, which waterfall? No, that was a big waterfall. Yeah, and we saw the lad that had he brought his pet bird to go on the trip. But only when we saw him, the bird was kept in a coffee pot, which blew my mind to see.
That's because you love coffee. You're just like, that's not what those are used for.
I didn't know what I just remember I'm there, and at first I start hearing this like bird chirp, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, what is this bird? And I see the guy with the coffee pot, and I was like, oh, hold up, is there a bird inside?
You had a bird in a coffee pot walking around taking photos at a waterfall.
Yeah,
No. Then we headed up north to Husvik, and like you said, we got to the geothermal sea baths. We're overlooking the sun on the horizon, not
it's worth
setting.
going to the baths just for that view, to chill and look at that view.
Honestly, especially that time of day.
Yeah.
Because that like midnight time, we were there at 11 p.m. That midnight-ish time, like the sun don't set, but it's still giving you that setting colors. So it
Hmm.
feels like that. You're looking out at the ocean, you're looking at the Icelandic Sea as north as you can look. You're seeing the mountains across the way of the fjords you were just driving around. And we're looking out, and there's some dolphins just jumping around the sea.
Yeah, that was extra special to see. And I mean, there's a good pot of them. I think overall, I think there was like six or seven.
Easily. There might have
Yeah.
been 10, 20. Just because like there, I don't know. I mean, there was that one did like 30 jumps out of the water.
Yeah, which was really neat. Really, really neat to see. Husavik brands itself as a good place to go whaling, go whale watching, and I believe it. We didn't go whale watching, but looking out over there, you go. There was dolphins.
Well, in that area, I mean, they what they say 90 to 95% success rate of seeing whales on a tour, probably.
Yeah, that's right. It said 90 to 95% success rate.
That's crazy. There was even those wooden boats you saw. You could take like I saw you. There was one of the hot tub inside. You could go take out on the whale tour.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild to see. I remember seeing that in the harbor there, and I thought it was just a cool boat in general. And
Right.
then turns out that they take people whale watching on
Yeah, you're like I gotta go back.
it.
You're like I need that. I need that experience,
Yeah,
especially like the day
Husavik was cool.
the weather we saw up there because it was just like a clear, perfect day.
It
Uh,
was. We
then we
got to jump extra long on the trampoline there.
Yeah, we did. That was fun because there was no kids there. It was funny because there was like the guy working like the restaurant, and you could tell he came out back because he's like looking
Yeah,
at whoever, and he sees us jumping on it, and he's just like, "Oh gosh, tourists."
yeah, right. That's
but he
100% what he was doing.
but he sat there for a while watching us, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I
Um,
bet I bet we were hilarious to watch.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And then that next morning, we got to do the thing that I think a lot of people want to go do right now is go see that Stugali Canyon.
Yeah, good old Stugali Canyon. Even if the GPS is taking us on some wild roads to get there.
Right? Well, and then that on the way, we drove past like those lava fields, which were really cool. I don't want to discredit those, or even that My Baton area looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of geothermal activity in that area.
Well, they call that My Baton the like Blue Lagoon of the North, and I guess now it kind of makes sense to me after going to the Blue Lagoon that it's probably like more of a like one of those natural but not natural hot springs, like
Hmm.
how the Blue Lagoon is in that sense, where it's like they kind of like built it up like a resort or like you could stay in it and do it. Um, but the canyon, what do you think?
Yes. Uh, I liked it. I liked it. I think in my head, I was picturing something much bigger than actually what it was.
Right,
But still, I don't know, it's hard to beat that color of water and then that unique of like rock shape, how they're just these hexagons just there.
right. It's cool. I mean, it's definitely part of there's something to it because you have like Devil's Tower. It's kind of similar in that way, and there's other places in the world that are going to have I think that's basalt, right? Like maybe I could be completely wrong. But like those columns, like you have places like that, and it's just weird how nature has done that, you
I
know,
know. Yeah,
because you're not
it is.
expecting it to.
No, you're not. And so that's really cool to see. I really you see the main part of the canyon, but if you go, you see where those columns instead of going up and down start to like curve, which
Right.
that was wild to kind of see because you're like, whoa, it's like the same up and down shape going, but now we got a big old curve going in there.
Yeah, it's not changing, but it's changed.
Yeah, right.
Like, what happened there?
Yeah. which is
Probably
which
a
is
lot of heat.
super. But yeah, no, Stukali Canyon was super cool. Highly encouraged hiking into it. I think that's where you get the most bang for your buck with this one.
And then from there, we went to that Excelsior town, Excelsior, something like that. It starts with an E, has a lot of G's. and which the Vok nature baths.
Oh, that's right. I was like trying to think when did what okay. No, the Vach nature baths. These of the three big ones that we went to, this I think is my favorite one, just because it's on the lake and you can chill in the hot springs and then you can pop in right into the lake right there, which was really cool to me.
And it was cold, which felt good.
Yeah, it felt really good. It
Um,
felt that one was really chilled at. I think we chilled there a little longer than we thought.
that's fine. I was told we skipped some stuff that day out on the east side because you're going around all the stuff. But I mean, it was just like lighthouses and stuff you were seeing from the car anyway. We didn't have to go stop and look at them. We just
No, no,
it
no, no.
was and that to me, when you're looking at that East Drive, like each one of those towns probably had cool things to do, stuff to do. You know, they have the community centers like we talked about and stuff. Even this little town we are in, so it was like to spend time at these hot springs. You know, you were able to like go in the misting showers, the sauna, the I really like the way you'd walk into the bath, like from the door, like it was just like from inside to outside. Um, and just like you could see where like community members came, but also tourists came, and it was that spa type feel, and it was nice.
That was a good one. Um, yeah, then we kind of tried to book it not too fast because we didn't want to skip any things, but we wanted to get to the Viking Cafe before it
Well,
closed.
but we did, but before that, we did that drive down into the town, down the Walter
Oh, that's right.
Road.
That's right. That's right. We did the again another Walter Mitty, Secret Life of Walter Mitty spot where the longboarding scene. The road he goes down is the road we drove. Not planned. This one was not a planned. We just wanted to go to that city because it had like the Rainbow Street leading to the church. But actually, that whole area was really cool. It was kind of like if Glacier was turned up, way up.
Yeah, especially coming down the pass because we're going down into that mountain pass, and just the waterfalls were amazing and just everywhere. And then that was really cool is that the ferry or wherever the cruise ferry just got in from I think the UK or wherever it was coming from, or Denmark or something. It was Denmark or the UK, and it rolled right in. All the tourists were getting off and into the town, so the town was just hustling, bustling. It felt really cool, and we hit it at a good time on a nice sunny day. Um,
Yeah,
but like you said, we didn't have a lot of time because we knew we wanted to get to this Viking town, so we really just booked that east side, which was fine because it the towns were there, and I feel like they all would have had that same kind of harbory town feel. I mean, unique in their own ways for sure, but different, where it's like, okay, we don't necessarily need that experience right now. And we wanted to see this Viking town.
yeah. Which it was cool to go to the Viking town.
Right.
It's only used for a movie set. Don't know which movie, but it's used for a movie. It was a movie set. I mean, you got a waffle.
That's the thing you're supposed to do there. Get the waffle at the Viking Cafe. And it was a darn too good waffle.
It was worth it. I mean, I took a bite of it, which was pretty solid. Um, um, which was the one thing I want to just jump on it real quick because came to my mind right now, and I'm surprised we haven't talked about it yet. Is all the sheep
Oh, I know.
everywhere?
Right. Well, I mean, you're right. Every day, everywhere you go, there was a sheep. You'd be at the Viking town, sheep. You'd be at the beach, sheep. You'd be up on a mountain, sheep. You'd be down by the river, sheep. You'd be out on a hot spring, sheep. On the road, sheep. Everywhere you go,
Lava
sheep.
fields, sheep.
It'd be weird because they'd be like in the farmer's field, sitting there, and there'd be sheep like out of the farmer's field, and you'd be like, did they get out? No, like everywhere you look, sheep, 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 sheep.
Yeah, come to find out that all the farmers let their sheep free in April for the summer. So they're free range. And then come like I think September, they do the sheep roundup. where they all the sheep they get them back to their original farmer. Uh, Traditionally, it's where Icelandic people meet their loved ones. So, there's a bit of a cultural aspect to it. I think this would be an amazing thing to go watch and experience.
In September, the sheep roundup. I mean, you could
Yeah.
see some of the corrals and pens that they had in like the farms. So like, I bet it's a cool little thing because like in a way that they seemed wild in a way, and every time they encountered people, they ran,
Yeah.
booked it. Like,
Yeah. I
so
mean, yeah. What did we read? Like over 400 die on the road?
which makes sense because like they're there. They outnumber the people. There's like 800,000 sheep, like
Yeah, it's
400,000 in the
wild. I
room.
mean, they're
Yeah.
it is so crazy because they are everywhere. You'll be somewhere, you're like, what the hell? There's another sheep.
Yeah. And horses, but the horses are more penned up. Um,
Yeah,
and you see that I said, which they're kind of unique. They're short, but they're like bulky.
yeah. Those are really cool to see. And we saw those at the Viking village. We had the one come right on up to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You wanted to
so
eat flowers.
yeah, just wanted the flowers. He didn't want anything else, which was cool. Overall, that the Viking area, which is where the Vassar Horn was and the Black Sand Beach,
Right.
so that was very, 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 very cool to experience. It's a very pretty mountain. I can see why there's a lot of photographs of it.
Right. No, it really is. It's a cool spot. It's one of those spots like you kind of wish we would have spent a little more time there because you're like, it is a heck, that's a cool spot. But we did. We spent a good amount of time there. And I feel like you feel that about a lot of these places because like you're looking at it, it's like, oh, you could hike up and over it and around it. Like there's so much to do in these places as well. Because from there, we were actually able to hit that glacier lagoon in the Diamond Beach that night. And honestly, that was my biggest like wow factor in that thing that like struck out to me most was when we hit that because I was not expecting that there for some reason. I was just like, yeah, we'll see Diamond Beach. It'll be kind of cool. I don't know. I thought it was more hype than what it was, and in reality, this was really cool.
In need of LED lights for your vehicle? Look no further than our friends at Oxteo, keeping our vehicles well lit while on the road while looking for Bigfoot. Make sure to use code RUGARU, RUGARU, on your next set of LED lights.
Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You know, you use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
The Wild West is full of dangers, from snakes to bears. The outdoorsman must be prepared. That is why when you experience rivers like the San Juan or the Yellowstone, you must bring a blue ribbon net. Handcrafted and biodegradable, these classic wooden fishing nets are all you need while on the river. Make sure to use code RUGARU10 when checking out at Blue Ribbon Nets. Again, the code is RUGARU10. RUGARU10.
Diamond Beach, I was worried about because we saw videos. It's overrated, and everything was like don't it's everyone makes it seem all really cool, and it's really just not. But in reality. it was pretty freaking cool.
Right. No, it really was. Because, like, you see the steam coming off the ice, hitting the ocean, getting that sunny vibe. You see the blues in the icebergs. And then you see the glacier just rolling right out into the ocean like that, melting. Because that's essentially what's making that lake is the melted glacial water, I feel like. And
Yeah.
it's right there in the ocean. They're touching. You're having that. I don't know. That was just. It was really cool, and it blew my mind away. I mean, the people you could see the crowds were there. That was probably the stinkiest bathroom I went in. Was the one there? It wasn't. It was. You could tell that's where the tourists go. So I'm glad we kind of hit it later in the day when we did. We were able to get away from the people, go up the way, and sit down and have our moment with the ice. You could hear the ice cracking and popping, um, which I was all about. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to experience the ice on the beaches, the glaciers and that water right there in the lagoon. That was that was definitely cool. It's up there with like the next big thing that we saw, which was the lava fields. Which were that one was I didn't know what to expect, because the lava wasn't flowing. I'm
Right.
thinking Hawaii volcanoes, and then like we get up over that hill and you see it, and you're like, holy shit, this is cool.
Right. Right. Yeah, because we kind of used that last day. We saw more waterfalls, a tourist spot. We hiked that hot spring. Then, like you said, we get to the lava fields and you hike up, you see the black lava that's from last August 2022 when it was erupting. We're looking at that. That's cool. It's still steaming. And then you're like, let's go up the mountain. The path goes up the mountain. Let's go up the mountain. So we like hike up the mountain, and then you're looking out and you really can see kind of just the movement of the lava, how it created that area, and just like kind of make sense of it all. And now I'm like, I need to go see it. I need to go see magma, the red, the molten stuff itself now.
I know, right? I'm the seeing the actual magma and lava will be super, super, super. That when it's hot is super cool.
Right.
Um,
I just need to, or spewing even, because you see that, like
yeah, no,
it's
you really do.
I want to get into that. But yeah, I mean, that was cool. It was really cool to experience. You could really feel us getting older now, trying to wind down, die down at the end of the trip. So it was really nice that we capped it off with the Blue Lagoon that last day too.
It was. I think that was one of the best moves we did was doing the Blue Lagoon hot springs right before the plane. Um, which I mean, it's dope. The Blue Lagoon is super cool. I think it's worth it if you're going. I mean, it is a 25 wonder of the world. So that in and of itself is kind of worth going. But I mean, it's the full spa treatment, when you go. And I mean, you can even get bougier.
Oh, I know. I mean, you get a complimentary face mask and we put that on, and that was interesting. We got the teas at the Vok bath after that, which was kind of nice as
That was
well.
amazing tea.
It was. I don't typically like tea or drink tea, and I had good tea.
Yeah.
Um, I'm about it. I'm totally about just kind of that spa feel. It's affordable. People will think it's a little spendy on the spendy side, but I think it's affordable and it's well worth it.
100%.
Um,
The lotion that I ended up buying,
yeah.
because I had the extra cash I just wanted to burn. Uh, I really like that lotion. I've used it the last couple of days, and I'm like, oh dang, like this stuff is really good. Like not
I'm
just the
sure
the
of it.
one time I used it. Like I was like, God damn. And of course, the first thought I had was like, oh shit, now I'm gonna have to figure out how I can get some to me at once this bottle's done.
No, I've been getting ads still for like Blue Lagoon stuff, so I'm sure you will be able to.
Yeah, I'm sure I can too.
That's awesome. No, it was an awesome trip overall. Just you look at it all, you look at all the highlights, you look at everything we did, even that hike up to that hot springs. We didn't even bathe in it. We just wanted to go on a hike that day. Cool. Just so much cool atmospheres. The people were cool, the towns were cool. The renting a van was super easy. The GPS aspect of it was super easy. The fact that we had Wi-Fi from our GPS to work on our phones. I mean, we didn't work on our phones, but we were able to like communicate with our friends and family, look things up, check things out. It was well worth it. It was really, really neat, really cool.
Iceland was an absolute blast as advertised. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. It was a good trip. I can't wait to see where we go next. But it's time for those final words. You know, because that's all we have left of the trip. And so we finish off the trip we finish off the show like we do with our trips. It's final words. So final words, my guy.
Hey, final words, guys. This is one of those things that we've always wanted to do. It's been on the top 5 places to go. It's a bucket list thing, they may say. So it's checked. The box is gone. The lists are going to change. Things are going to come up. Just go and do it. Go and find your bucket list items. Go and find your bucket list countries. Tyler and Josh are going to Australia. I know they like that. I hear we might be going out down under to Africa later in the year. Who knows? We'll see. Stuff to come ahead. So I'm super excited. I'm super happy. I'm super stoked to see what is all coming. And just go travel, everybody. Go travel. Reverend.
Reference final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful, everyone. I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for listening all the way through. Yeah, no, this has been a bucket list item trip for me. Been for a long, long time. There's and finally having it happen was pretty big. I was hoping that I didn't hype it up too much when I was going. It's like, oh, it's Iceland. I've always wanted to go to Iceland, or it's Iceland. And then the trip kind of be a dud to my expectations, but no, blew it out of the water. It's amazing. I love travel. Travel's a lot of fun. Everything about it. It's just I enjoy it. But with that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.